Scott Disick faced criticism for his crush on Khloe Kardashian following confirmation from Kris Jenner. Hi, before we continue, please subscribe to the channel for all Kardashians news and update. Scott Disick has recently faced a lot of online backlash after a moment in an older episode of the Kardashians stirred up strong reactions from viewers. During the scene, something was said that many fans thought crossed the line. It all began when Kris Jenner, who is 67, casually revealed that Scott, who is 40, might have a bit of a soft spot for Khloe Kardashian, who is 39. This surprising moment came while the three of them, Kris, Khloe, and Scott, were talking about his struggles with finding a serious romantic partner. Scott had shared how lonely he's been lately, admitting that he feels this way all the time, which opened the door to a deeper conversation about what kind of person might be right for him. Kris, always curious and trying to help, asked Scott a simple but important question. She wanted to know what Scott looked for in a perfect partner. She asked, if you could meet the perfect girl, what would she be like on paper? Scott didn't give a serious answer. Instead, with a grin, he turned to Khloe and asked, I don't know, how tall are you? The way he looked at her and gestured clearly got everyone's attention. Khloe quickly responded by glancing away and saying, this guy, while rolling her eyes slightly, though she didn't seem too upset. Scott just laughed it off, as he often does. Later in the episode, when that part had finished, Kris spoke in a confessional interview and shared what she thought about the whole thing. She admitted that Scott might actually have a crush on Khloe. She even joked that it wasn't unusual to feel that way because she herself liked Khloe a lot too. In her words, I think Scott probably does have a crush on Khloe. Listen, I have a crush on Khloe. Everyone has a crush on Khloe. Even the cameramen have a crush on Khloe. Kris added that if they could just find someone close to Khloe's personality and energy, maybe Scott would find the right match. But that short moment between Scott and Khloe didn't sit well with many people online. Reddit users, especially, didn't hold back their thoughts. Some described Scott's comment as inappropriate, while others expressed real surprise and shock at what they had just seen. One user said they couldn't believe what Scott had said and how casually he said it. They were clearly uncomfortable. Another person even went as far as calling out both Scott and Kris, saying the whole thing felt odd, especially coming from a family member and someone who has known Khloe for so long in a brother-like way. In fact, some people online believed that Scott might be trying too hard to stay in the Kardashian family's good books. One fan mentioned that Scott would say or do just about anything to stay close to the Kardashians. They believed that Scott didn't want to lose his connection to the family because of how much being around them has benefited him over the years. The fan added that Scott has never really worked in the traditional sense and that he probably planned to keep things that way by staying close to the Kardashian name. But not everyone agreed with the backlash. Some viewers took a very different approach. One fan pointed out that they didn't think Scott truly had any romantic interest in Khloe at all. Instead, they felt that Scott might just really care about her as a friend. This fan believed that Scott always tries to lift Khloe's spirits because he knows she's been through a lot in her personal life. To them, Scott was simply being a supportive friend and nothing more. They even said that Scott is like a cheerleader for Khloe, helping her feel good about herself, especially when cameras are rolling. That person also shared that Khloe and Scott seem to have some of the best chemistry on the show, not romantic, but in terms of personality and how funny they both are. That chemistry, they said, is probably why the producers often put them together in scenes. The fan wrapped up by saying they doubted Khloe and Scott even spend time together outside of filming. The issue didn't stop there. It got worse when people remembered another moment from a previous episode that made the situation even more troubling. In an episode that aired on October 12, Scott made another comment that was seen as inappropriate. This time, the joke went even further. Scott, who shares 3 children with Kourtney Kardashian, made a very uncomfortable joke about his 40th birthday. He said something that made it sound like he hoped to spend his birthday in a way that involved Khloe. He also joked that maybe by then, his back would feel better. The way he worded it gave people the impression that he had intentions that were not respectful, especially considering how close their families are. This added fuel to the fire, and people online began criticizing Scott more strongly. Many users were deeply disappointed in the way Scott joked about Khloe, especially since she is the sister of his ex-partner and the aunt of his children. One user said that the joke was just too far and completely unnecessary. It didn't help that Kris didn't seem to take the situation seriously either. Some people felt that Kris brushing it off made things worse because it showed that these comments were being allowed without any accountability. It's not new for Scott to stir up drama on the show. Over the years, he's been involved in a number of situations that have caused tension, confusion, or just plain shock among fans and even within the Kardashian family. Scott is known for his sarcastic and sometimes risky sense of humor, but this time, many people believe he might have taken it too far. The nature of his joke, along with Kris's comment about him having a crush on Khloe, made fans question if these were just harmless jokes or if there was more to it. Even though some viewers tried to defend Scott by saying it was all for laughs and that he probably meant nothing serious by it, others didn't accept that explanation. They believed that when you've been part of a family for so long, especially one that has brought you into their lives so closely, there are certain lines you shouldn't cross, joking about your ex's sister being one of them. Another important thing to consider is the way the show uses certain storylines to keep fans watching. Some people believe that the producers of the Kardashians know how much attention these kinds of scenes bring and that they might be including moments like this on purpose to keep the audience talking. After all, the Kardashians have built their entire brand around personal drama, surprising reveals, and unexpected moments. Whether or not Scott's comment was planned or just a spontaneous joke, it definitely helped spark conversations and keep the show in the headlines. Still, not everyone sees the situation in black and white. A few thoughtful fans shared that maybe this is just a case of two close friends joking around, and the joke didn't land well. They reminded others that Khloe and Scott have known each other for years and that they often tease each other in different ways. Maybe, they suggested, Scott didn't mean to offend anyone and just said something that sounded worse than it actually was. But even with that more forgiving point of view, most people still agreed that it's best to avoid certain topics, especially when the world is watching. Scott's personality has always been complicated. He has had many ups and downs, both on and off the screen. From his rocky relationship with Kourtney to his struggles with loneliness and growing older, fans have seen many different sides of him. Some sympathize with his feelings of being left out, especially now that Kourtney has moved on and started a new chapter in her life with Travis Barker. Thanks for watching. Please do well to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian updates.